All right, so you want to dive into the, wow, signal, huh? Well, buckle up because we're going deep on this one.
Yeah, this is a signal that's kept folks talking for what, almost 50 years now, right?
Yes, and we got some great sources to work with here.
Looks like everything from those original reports.
Just some of the newer theories out there.
It's really amazing how this one
It's
signal...
just captured everyone's imagination.
Yeah, and for good reason, this wasn't just some random blip on the radar.
It came at a really interesting time for, the whole search for extraterrestrial intelligence.
SETI.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
SETI. I feel like in the 70s, that was really starting to become a thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Like before that, it was mostly sci-fi.
Right.
But then we actually started building telescopes and listening.
Exactly. It was 1977, and SETI was gaining some serious momentum.
Scientists were pointing these radio telescopes up at the sky, just hoping to catch,
A whisper from another civilization.
Okay, so walk me through this if I'm a SETI scientist back then.
Okay.
Where am I even pointing this telescope?
Yeah.
I mean, space is huge.
Well, they were focusing on a specific range of radio frequencies,
Okay.
nicknamed the water hole.
Water hole.
Yeah, imagine it like this. You're tuning an old radio. You're trying to find a clear channel between all the static.
Okay.
The water hole is this relatively quiet band nestled between the frequencies emitted by hydrogen and hydroxyl,
Okay, I'm with you.
which are the elements that make up water.
Ah, okay, so it's like the universal meeting spot on the radio dial, right? If
Exactly.
you're out there and you're trying to make contact,
That's where you'd broadcast.
that's where you'd be.
That was the thinking. If any intelligent civilization was trying to send a signal, they might choose this water hole frequency
To make it easier to hear.
to make it easier for us to hear them.
Okay, that makes sense. So 1977, we're listening to the water hole.
Yeah.
What kind of tech are we talking about here? So like giant satellite dish in the desert, all sci-fi movie style?
Well, the telescope that picked up the signal wasn't quite that dramatic,
Okay.
but it was impressive for its time. It was called the Big Ear Telescope,
Big ear.
located at Ohio State University. And here's a key detail. The Big Ear was specifically designed to filter out Earth-based signals.
Oh, clever.
So anything it picked up
It had to be from space.
was pretty much guaranteed to be coming from space.
That's how they knew it wasn't just some stray radio broadcast from down the street.
Exactly.
All right, set the scene for me. It's August 15, 1977. What happens?
So the Big Ear is scanning the sky, listening to the water hole,
Uh-huh.
and then it hits something unlike anything it had ever encountered before.
Okay.
A strong, narrow-band signal coming from the direction of the constellation Sagittarius.
Hold on, narrowband. Explain that to me like I'm 5.
Okay, so think of it like this: most natural radio sources in space, like stars and galaxies, they're like listening to static on an old radio.
Okay, it's all over the place.
All over the place, yeah.
Okay.
But this signal was like tuning into a single clear channel,
Wow.
and it lasted for 72 seconds.
72 seconds.
Which was the maximum amount of time the Big Ear could observe a single point in the sky before it moved on.
Okay, so strong signal, narrow frequency from deep space.
Right.
I can see why people started thinking aliens.
Right.
But what really gets me is the story about how it got its name.
Oh, yeah. Come on.
The astronomer analyzing the data,
Uh-huh.
a guy named Jerry Eman,
Yep.
he was so blown away by the signal's clarity and intensity that he circled it on the printout and wrote "wow" in red ink next to it.
That's amazing.
And that, my friend, is how this mystery got its name.
I love that it's like you can picture him just sitting there late at night looking at all these numbers.
Yeah.
And then bam, this thing jumps out at him.
It's a moment in history.
Yeah, talk about a moment in history. So let's talk aliens.
Yeah.
What makes, wow, signal a potential candidate for an extraterrestrial message?
Well, as we've been discussing, the signal's characteristics were really unlike anything we'd expect from a natural source.
Yeah.
That intensity, that narrow frequency band, and even that specific 72-second duration.
They all lined up with what some scientists had theorized a deliberate transmission from an advanced civilization might look like.
So it's almost like they knew exactly where we'd be listening and for how long.
It's like they knew exactly what we were doing.
That's wild.
Yeah.
But hold on, if they were intentionally signaling us why only once, wouldn't they keep at it? Like sending a cosmic Morse code message or something.
That is a great question, and one that has puzzled scientists ever since.
Right.
We haven't detected that signal again despite numerous attempts.
So what's the deal?
Maybe sending a signal across such vast distances takes an incredible amount of energy, even for a super advanced civilization.
Okay, yeah, imagine the power bill on that thing.
Right.
So maybe it was like a cosmic shot in the dark, hey, is anyone out there?
Yeah.
And then they waited for a response.
Possibly.
But that makes you wonder.
What if we just haven't been listening the right way? What if our technology isn't good enough yet to pick up other signals like it?
Man, that gives me chills. Like, there could be this whole conversation going on out there, and we're just now figuring out how to tune in.
Yeah.
This is where I start to geek out a little bit.
Yeah.
We're talking about a potential sign that someone somewhere built a thing powerful enough to send a signal across the galaxy.
I
I mean,
know.
that's next level.
It really is. But before we get too carried away with the alien theory, it's important to remember that good science demands we explore all possible explanations.
Right. Keep those skeptical hats on, folks.
Exactly, not just the most exciting ones.
So, what are some of the other explanations that scientists have come up with? What else could be creating a signal like that?
Well, one of the first things they looked at was interstellar gas clouds. These clouds can emit radio signals, and some even fall in the same frequency range as the
Wow.
signal.
But I'm guessing there's a catch.
You got it? No such gas cloud was observed in the direction of the signal at the time. Another theory was that it was some kind of Earth-based interference that snuck past the big ear's filters. But then again, the big ear was designed specifically to weed those out, so...
Yeah, and I'm guessing our tech was even less likely to cause interference back then, right?
Exactly. A more recent theory that's gained some traction involves comets.
Comets?
Yeah, in 2017, a study suggested that a comet, which emits radio waves in the same frequency range as the WOW signal, might have been passing through that area of the sky when the signal was detected.
Interesting.
But this theory is still controversial.
Okay.
Many scientists aren't convinced.
So we've got aliens on one side and then these natural possibilities on the other, but none of them quite fit.
Right.
What does that tell us?
It tells us that the WOW signal remains a genuine mystery.
A mystery.
Even after all this time and all this research, it still has us scratching our heads. And that's what makes it so captivating.
It's like the ultimate unsolved case file, but on a cosmic scale.
Exactly.
You've got this tantalizing clue, but no clear answers.
And that's a perfect segue to the next part of our dive. What happened after the WOW signal? Because this wasn't just a one-off event. It changed how we look for life beyond Earth.
Okay, so that's the backstory. Now let's get to the heart of it.
Right.
What was so special about the WOW signal itself? Did we learn anything from it?
The WOW signal had a profound impact on SETI research.
Okay.
It was a wake-up call.
In what sense?
We realized that the possibility of detecting an artificial signal from space wasn't just science fiction. It was something we needed to be prepared for. And it showed us that we needed to broaden our search strategies.
Yep.
We can't just focus on obvious frequencies like the water hole.
Yeah.
We need to be open to signals from all parts of the spectrum, even those that might seem random or unexpected.
So cast a wider net, so to speak.
Exactly. And not just listen for signals that seem like deliberate, hey, we're here messages.
Okay.
Maybe we should also be on the lookout for accidental transmissions.
What do you mean?
Leakage from their technology or communication systems, like eavesdropping on an alien phone call.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So what are some of the ways that SETI research changed after the WOW signal?
Well, one of the biggest shifts was the focus on developing new, more advanced telescopes and listening techniques. We realized we needed better tools if we wanted to find something as faint and fleeting as the WOW signal.
Yeah.
And we needed to be able to look at much larger chunks of the sky at once.
So basically the WOW signal showed us how much we still had to learn. It sounds like it kickstarted a whole new era of SETI research.
Exactly. It made SETI a more serious and more organized field. And it also spurred the development of international collaborations like the SETI Institute and the Breakthrough Listen Project, which brought together scientists and resources from around the world.
It's amazing to think that a single 72-second signal could have such a lasting impact on our understanding of the universe
I know, it's incredible.
and how we approach looking for life out there.
Yeah, it's a testament to the power of a good mystery.
Absolutely.
It captures our imaginations, it makes us question our assumptions, and it pushes us to keep exploring.
Speaking of exploring, before we move on, can we talk a little bit about technosignatures?
Sure.
That term came up in your notes, and I think it's super interesting.
Ah, yes, technosignatures.
Yeah.
This is another area where the, signal's legacy is felt. It got us thinking, what other signs of alien technology might we be able to detect?
Right.
It's not just about radio signals anymore.
So what are we talking about here? Like giant space stations that we could see with telescopes or Dyson spheres harnessing the power of a star?
Yeah.
I mean, that's getting into some serious sci-fi territory.
Well, those are certainly possibilities that
Yeah.
may be a bit far-fetched for our current technology. But there might be more subtle signs, such as unusual atmospheric compositions or infrared emissions, that could indicate industrial activity on another planet.
Right, like maybe their planet has this weird chemical mix in its atmosphere that wouldn't occur naturally. That would
Exactly.
be a huge clue.
It's like we're playing cosmic detective looking for clues that might point to a technologically advanced civilization.
That's a great way to put it. So we've talked about what the wow signal was
Mm.
and how it changed how we search for life. But this is where I get really curious. What about the future of SETI? What are the most promising directions we're looking at now?
That's a great question, and it leads us perfectly into the next part of our deep dive.
All right, then let's take a quick break to refuel our brains, and we'll be right back to explore the future of alien hunting.
Welcome back. So before the break, we were talking about technosignatures.
Right, all the ways that aliens might accidentally reveal themselves.
Exactly, and that leads us to some exciting new avenues in SETI research.
Okay.
For example, we're now looking beyond radio waves
Mm-hmm.
and considering other potential forms of communication like optical signals.
Okay, explain this one to me.
All right.
We're talking lasers, right?
Well, you got it.
Like giant beams of light shooting across the galaxy.
It wouldn't necessarily have to be a giant beam visible to the naked eye.
Okay.
It could be a very focused, powerful pulse of laser light
Uh-huh.
that we could detect with our instrument.
So instead of tuning into their radio, we're looking for their laser pointers.
In a sense, yes. And the thing about lasers is they can carry a lot more information than radio waves.
Interesting. So maybe they're not just saying hello. Maybe they're sending us the galactic equivalent of
But
Wikipedia.
now, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Okay.
Decoding any kind of alien message, whether it's radio or optical, would be an enormous challenge.
Yeah,
But the point is, we need to be open to all possibilities.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So besides lasers, what else are we looking for? You mentioned something about looking at the atmospheres of other planets.
Right. Remember we talked about technosignatures?
Yes.
One way to find them might be by analyzing the atmospheres of exoplanets,
Exoplanets.
planets orbiting other stars.
So we're looking for something weird in the air, right? Like a chemical mix that wouldn't occur naturally.
Precisely, certain industrial processes might release specific gases or pollutants into the atmosphere that we could detect with our telescopes. Or maybe they've developed technology that alters their atmosphere in a way that's detectable from a distance.
That's so cool. It's like we're taking the science we use to study pollution on Earth and applying it to the search for aliens.
Exactly. It's all about looking for those subtle fingerprints
Uh-huh.
that could betray the presence of technology.
This is really blowing my mind. We're basically saying if they're out there and they're advanced enough,
Right.
their very existence might leave a mark that we can detect.
Exactly. And as our telescopes and our instruments get more powerful, those marks become easier to see.
You know, it makes me think about all those sci-fi stories about ancient alien civilizations that left behind ruins or artifacts.
Yeah.
We're kind of doing the same thing, but on a much grander scale.
It's like archaeology, but instead of digging in the dirt, we're digging through the light. That reaches us from distant stars.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that signal led to more international collaboration in SETI.
Yeah.
Can you talk a bit more about that?
Sure. Signal really highlighted the importance of having a global network of telescopes all working together. Remember, no one else was able to confirm the signal,
Right.
so it's remained a frustrating one-time event.
So if we had more eyes on the sky, so to speak, we'd have a better chance of catching these signals
Exactly.
and studying them.
And that's what projects like the Breakthrough Listen Initiative are trying to do.
Okay.
They're using some of the most powerful telescopes in the world to scan the skies for technosignatures and other signs of alien intelligence.
And they're sharing their data with everyone.
Right.
So if someone in, say, South Africa picks up something unusual,
Right.
scientists all over the world can check it out.
That's the idea. It's a truly collaborative effort, which is essential if we're going to make any real progress in this field.
You know, it's kind of inspiring to think that despite all our differences here on Earth, we can come together to work on something as big and as fundamental as the search for life beyond our planet.
Absolutely. It's a reminder that we're all part of something much larger than ourselves.
Okay, so we've talked about the past, the present, and the future of SETI.
Yeah.
But let's get back to the, signal itself.
Okay.
If it was a message, what could it have meant? What could they have been trying to tell us?
Unfortunately, without any repetition or any other similar signals, it's impossible to know. It's like finding a single page torn out of a book. You can see words, but you have no idea what the story is.
That's so frustrating.
It is.
Like the universe is dangling this amazing possibility in front of us, but then it just snatches it away.
Right.
But I guess that's part of what makes this whole thing so fascinating, right?
Absolutely. The mystery keeps us engaged. It makes us want to keep searching, keep asking questions.
It's kind of like that feeling you get when you're reading a really good mystery novel and you can't wait to find out what happens next.
Exactly. And in this case, the story is still being written.
Yeah.
Who knows what discoveries await us as we continue to explore the cosmos?
Well, on that note, I think it's time to shift gears a little. We've been talking about the search for intelligent life. But what about the possibility of finding something much simpler,
Like what?
like microbial life?
That's a great question, and it brings us to another fascinating frontier in astrobiology.
So we've been on this wild ride talking about finding, intelligent life out there.
Right.
But what about life that's not so intelligent?
Like what?
Like, what if we find tiny alien bacteria or something?
That's a fantastic question, and it's another huge part of astrobiology, the search for microbial life.
Okay.
And, finding something like microscopic aliens might actually be more likely than finding an advanced civilization.
Really? Why is that?
Well, think about it. Life on Earth started out as simple single-celled organisms.
Right.
It took billions of years for more complex life to evolve. So if there's life on other planets, it might still be in that early stage.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like we're a pretty recent development here on Earth, cosmically speaking.
Yeah.
So where should we even be looking for these alien microbes?
Well, there are some pretty tantalizing spots right here in our own solar system.
Okay.
Mars, for example, used to have flowing water and a thicker atmosphere, conditions that could have supported life in the past.
You're saying Mars might have been a party planet billions of years ago?
It's certainly possible. Today, Mars is pretty harsh and dry,
Right.
but we think there might still be liquid water underground.
So maybe Martian microbes are hiding out down there just waiting for us to come say hi.
Maybe. And then there's Europa,
Europa?
one of Jupiter's moons.
Okay.
It's covered in ice, but scientists believe there's a huge ocean of liquid water under that ice, possibly even bigger than all of Earth's oceans combined.
Whoa, a hidden ocean. That sounds like prime real estate for some kind of life.
It's definitely a top contender. And we can't forget about Enceladus,
Enceladus.
a moon orbiting Saturn.
What's
It's
that?
got these geysers that shoot water vapor and organic molecules into space.
No way. So we've got Mars, Europa, Enceladus. That's a lot of potential for alien microbes in our cosmic neighborhood.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
But be honest, what are the chances we actually find something?
Honestly, we don't know yet, but every mission we send out, every bit of data we get back gets us closer to an answer.
It feels like we're on the verge of something huge, doesn't it? Like maybe in our lifetime we'll know for sure whether we're alone in the universe or not.
It's an incredibly exciting time to be alive and asking these questions. And who knows, maybe the next wow moment won't come from a distant star, but from right here in our own solar system.
Yeah, that would be incredible.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground today. From that mysterious, signal to the search for both intelligent and microbial life, it's clear that humans are fascinated by this question. Are we alone?
Absolutely. And even if we never find definitive proof of alien life, the journey itself has been so valuable.
In what way?
It's pushed us to develop new technologies, refine our scientific methods, and think more critically about our place in the cosmos.
I love that it's not just about the destination, it's about what we learn along the way.
Exactly. And, the search for life beyond Earth really speaks to something deep within us.
Yeah, what's that?
This curiosity, this drive to explore and understand the universe around us.
It's like we're hardwired to wonder, is there anyone else out there?
I think you're right. And that brings us back to you, dear listener. What are your takeaways from this deep dive? What questions are still swirling around in your mind?
Maybe you're thinking about what it would really mean to find alien life. Would it change our understanding of ourselves, our religions, our place in the universe?
Or maybe you're thinking about the practical stuff. How would we even communicate with an alien species?
Right.
What if they're so different from us that we can't even comprehend each other?
Those are huge questions, and we don't have all the answers yet. But that's okay. That's part of the beauty of it all.
Yeah.
The mystery keeps us going, it keeps us searching, it keeps us pushing the boundaries of what we know.
So keep those questions coming, keep exploring, keep looking up at the stars and wondering. Who knows what amazing discoveries are still out there waiting for us to find them?
Beautifully said. And that wraps up our deep dive into the wow signal. We hope you enjoyed the journey as much as we did. Until next time, stay curious,